Once upon a time, there was a large, lush green forest where many animals lived. The forest was home to all kinds of wildlife. There was enough food and shelter for all the animals to live in harmony. There were so many families of animals, including rabbits, birds, squirrels, raccoons, and so many more, including a large group of foxes. One day, a fox was walking through the forest. All of a sudden, he heard a loud snap and knew instantly his tail had been caught in a trap. The fox was very upset as he tried to get his tail out of the trap. Finally, he pulled himself away from the trap, but it cut off his tail. The fox was very sad, and he had a very sore tail. The fox cried and thought he would be the laughingstock of all of the foxes. He had lost his beautiful fluffy tail, and whatever should he do now? He walked deeper into the forest until he had an idea. He decided to have a meeting with all his animal friends to discuss his idea. When everyone had gathered together, the fox started to speak. "Thank you for coming to hear me," said the fox. "The reason I have gathered you here today is to talk about why we have a tail. You see, we have eyes, ears, a nose, teeth, legs, all for some reason. But why a tail? A tail is such a useless thing. It seems to get in the way. People trip over it. It gets in the way when we sit down. So after much consideration, I have cut off my own tail, and I would like you all to do the same. I feel great now that I no longer have that useless tail." The lead fox and all the other animals were amazed at what the fox was saying. They all thought it would be quite painful and had never really thought of themselves without tails.
Wow.
All of a sudden, a younger fox asked, "Are you saying this because you no longer have a beautiful furry tail? Are you feeling embarrassed and just thinking about yourself? Maybe you are worried we might leave you out of our group of friends." The group of animals agreed that the fox without a tail was being selfish, and that it was very mean that he should ask them to cut off their tails too. He just wants us all to cut off our tails so he won't be embarrassed or left out. All the animals were quite upset with the fox without a tail, and they left him to think about what he had asked them to do. The lead fox reminded the other animals about how special their tails were and how they should always be proud of their tails. No one should cut off their tails. They all agreed. The fox without a tail was left to wander the forest alone, as his friends realized he was not a true friend. He had asked them to change, to make sure he would fit in with them. He should have accepted his difference, and his friends would have welcomed him, instead of being upset with the fox without a tail. The fox without a tail wandered for a long time and thought about his decision. He returned to his forest, and his friends forgave him. they accepted him just as he was. The fox without a tail was very happy to be back with his friends. The end. Long ago, in a small village, a woodcarver named Geppetto made a wooden puppet. It looked so much like a real boy that Geppetto gave it a name, Pinocchio. The old man was so happy, he showed the puppet to his cat Figaro and his goldfish Cleo. As Geppetto showed his puppet to his dear pets, a small cricket named Jiminy Cricket snuck into Geppetto's house to have a warm night's sleep. Jiminy Cricket watched as Geppetto set the puppet down and gazed out the window at the stars. "Look at that! The wishing star!" Geppetto cried. Geppetto wished Pinocchio was a real boy. Soon it was bedtime, and Geppetto, Figaro, Cleo, and Jiminy Cricket all fell asleep. Before long, a beautiful light filled the workshop and woke up Jiminy Cricket. It was the Blue Fairy. She had heard Geppetto's wish and was there to make Pinocchio a real boy. She touched the puppet with her magic wand, and Pinocchio came to life. But Pinocchio had to prove he was brave, truthful, and unselfish to become a real boy. The Blue Fairy knew Pinocchio would need help, so she made Jiminy Cricket his helper, so he would help him to choose between right and wrong, and prove himself. Geppetto was delighted with Pinocchio, and he sent him off to school like a good parent. On the way to school, Pinocchio met a sly fox, who said Pinocchio could make a lot of money and didn't have to go to school. Jiminy Cricket didn't trust the sly fox. The sly fox said he could spend all of his time having fun in the theater instead of studying at school. Pinocchio said, "Okay!" and off he went with the sly fox to the theater owner. That night, the theater owner put Pinocchio on stage. He was a big hit as he sang and danced for the crowd. The crowd threw money on the stage. Jiminy Cricket, who was in the crowd, worried. After the show, the theater owner locked Pinocchio up and said, "You will live here and make me lots of money." Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket wondered how he could escape. Luckily, the Blue Fairy arrived. She asked Pinocchio why he missed school. He lied. She asked him more questions, and each time he told a lie, his nose grew longer and longer. The Blue Fairy reminded him to tell the truth if he wanted to be a real boy. Pinocchio promised he would tell the truth. She fixed his nose and set him free. The next day, Pinocchio met the sly fox again. The sly fox convinced Pinocchio to not go to school, but instead play and have fun all day. Pinocchio followed the fox, not returning home after regular school time. Geppetto was worried and went to look for Pinocchio. Geppetto sailed his boat to search for Pinocchio, and he was swallowed up by a huge whale. When Pinocchio returned home from playing all day, he found this out, and he knew he must save Geppetto. Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket found the huge whale, and they teased him with the fish. The whale grabbed the fish, the pole, Pinocchio, and Jiminy Cricket, and they were all swallowed into his belly. They found Geppetto in the whale's belly too. They must find a way to escape from the whale. They decided they would make the whale sneeze, and they would all escape when the whale opened his mouth. It worked, but when the whale saw them in the water, he thrashed around, knocking everyone about. Pinocchio had to grab Geppetto to save him. After a while, the water settled down and Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket awoke on the beach. They found Pinocchio lying lifeless on the rocks. Geppetto was heartbroken, and he carried his son home in his arms, convinced he had lost Pinocchio forever. Back in the workshop, Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket cried, and then all of a sudden, the blue fairy appeared. She touched her wand on Pinocchio and said, "Awake!" Pinocchio awoke, and the blue fairy said, "By saving Geppetto, you have proven yourself to be brave, truthful, and unselfish." "I am a real boy!" shouted Pinocchio. Pinocchio, Geppetto, Jiminy Cricket, and all the pets celebrated and danced as Geppetto's wish had come true. Pinocchio was a real boy. Once upon a time, there was a lovely lady who lived in the countryside. Her beautiful white cottage was filled with the smell of fresh baked cookies that wafted over to her barn. She loved to bake cookies. One day, she wanted to bake something extra nice with flour, sugar, and spice. She got out her big red mixing bowl and her wooden spoon. She mixed all her ingredients until the batter was just right. Then she rolled out her dough just perfectly. She thought, "This dough is so perfect and flat and just like butter. I think it is time for my cookie cutter." Soon the cookie was baked perfectly. She had used a gingerbread man cookie cutter. The lady thought she must decorate this special cookie with 2 eyes, lips, and a nose, and a nice bow tie around the neck. She thought he looked delicious and wanted to eat him. Before she knew it, the gingerbread man cookie came to life, hopped off the cookie pan, and ran out of the cottage.
No. Oh no.
She ran after him. "Don't run! I want to eat you!" The gingerbread man shouted back, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." As she ran after him past her barn, a cow smelled the cookie and wanted to eat him too. The cow began to chase the gingerbread man, along with the lady. The gingerbread man saw the cow chasing him, and he said, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." Soon a chicken and a pig from the farm joined the chase for the gingerbread man. They chased him all the way to the edge of the big pond. The gingerbread man knew he would melt if he went into the pond. And then, all of a sudden, a sly fox appeared and offered to help the gingerbread man cross the water. "But I think you might eat me," said the gingerbread man. "Oh, don't worry. I just want to help you cross the water," said the sly fox. The gingerbread man thought it was okay, and he jumped onto the sly fox's tail. The lady and the barnyard animals watched as the gingerbread man crossed the pond with the sly fox. Soon the water got higher, and the fox told the gingerbread man to get on his back to avoid getting wet. The gingerbread man crawled from the fox's tail to his back. Then the water got even deeper, and the fox asked the gingerbread man to hop on his head to be safe from the water. Soon even the fox's head was going under the water. He asked the gingerbread man to hop on his nose to really finish his plan. The gingerbread man hopped on the fox's nose. Just as they reached land, the fox flipped his nose, and the gingerbread man went flying into the air and was falling towards the sly fox's mouth. The sly fox's plan was now very evident. He was going to eat the gingerbread man. All of a sudden, a crow snatched the gingerbread man from the air. The gingerbread man was now in the crow's beak. The fox just stared as the crow flew away in the sky. The gingerbread man asked the crow, "Do crows eat gingerbread men?" "Yes," said the crow. And when he opened his beak to answer the gingerbread man fell down to the ground.
Ow, ow, ow.
He ran away as fast as he could. The gingerbread man yelled to the lady and all the animals, "Run, run as fast as you can. No one can catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." If you ever see a gingerbread man, don't try to catch him, because no one can. Once upon a time, there were 25 tin soldiers that were in a box. The toy soldiers were brave and handsome. Each tin soldier wore a smart blue uniform. One soldier that had been made last had only one leg, as the toy maker had run out of tin. The one-legged tin soldier was as brave and handsome as all the other soldiers in the box. The box was given to a boy on his birthday. The boy placed the box in his room filled with wonderful toys. The tin soldier noticed a beautiful doll that stood on one leg in her ballerina pose. He fell in love with her at once, as he believed she stood on one leg just like him, and she was so lovely. The ballerina thought the tin soldier was so handsome. She fell in love with him at first sight, too. One day, the boy took the soldier out to play by the canal. He made a paper boat and put the tin soldier in it. All of a sudden, a big downpour whisked away the paper boat, and the brave tin soldier sailed quickly towards a dark tunnel. He was very brave and stood steadfast on his one leg. In the tunnel was a big rat who demanded to see the tin soldiers pass. The water came so fast that the rat could not catch the paper boat, and the tin soldier was happy to be out of the rat's reach. The tin soldier wondered what lay ahead as he stood bravely in his paper boat in the dark tunnel. He also wondered if he would ever see his true love, the ballerina, ever again. Suddenly, he heard a great wall of water. The tin soldier knew he was heading for the end of the tunnel, and a great waterfall must lay ahead. He stood bravely on his one leg as his soggy paper boat flipped end over end and sank into the whirlpool at the end of the waterfall. He thought to himself, "I will never see my ballerina again." All of a sudden, a great fish swallowed him up. It was so dark inside the giant fish, but the tin soldier was as brave as ever. After a long time, the fish was caught by a fisherman's hook. The fisherman took the fish home to cook for dinner. Upon cleaning the fish, the cook exclaimed, "Well, if it is not the young boy's toy tin soldier inside this fish." The tin soldier was thrilled to be home as the cook placed him back in the toy room. The tin soldier saw his sweet ballerina poised on her one leg across the room. The one-legged toy soldier smiled when the little boy approached. "Where have you been?" said the little boy. "You smell like fish and are so dirty." The little boy opened the window and tossed the tin soldier out the window. The tin soldier remained brave as he landed on a large bed of petunias below the window.
Ow, ow, ow.
The tin soldier was very sad, but he remained brave as he lay among the flowers. Just then, as the boy was playing with the ballerina on the window ledge, a gentle wind knocked the ballerina to the ground below. Straight into the petunia garden. The brave tin soldier could not believe his eyes when his ballerina landed right in front of him. The tin soldier asked her to stay with him and be his wife. "Yes," she exclaimed, "I thought you would never ask." The tin soldier and his ballerina were married in the flower garden below. In the moonlight, she would dance for him among the flower petals. They remained true to each other forever, living in the lovely flower garden as husband and wife.